Speaking of controversial politics, the so-called Anti-Bibi bill is back on the agenda. Justice Minister Gideon Saar renewing efforts, to pass the law which would prevent Knesset members under criminal indictment from forming a government and becoming Prime Minister. Why so controversial then? Well, Saar is alleging that the opposition is all personal and not against the bill itself. With us to discuss is live from the Knesset, ILTV reporter Asaf Nissan. Asaf, thanks so much for being with us. Now, the Likud is saying that...
Thank you so much, Aaron.
It's our pleasure. Now, the Likud is saying that Saar is motivated by revenge and that this bill has become known as the Anti-Bibi bill because it would effectively block Netanyahu from returning to office while on trial. Saar is throwing it back, pointing out that a mayor is suspended when indictments are filed, a minister or deputy minister resigns when indictments are filed, and so applying this norm to the role of Prime Minister is a moral statement of the legislator. So who's opposed to this deal and who's in favor?
So basically, Aaron, what we're seeing is a lot of indecision between coalition and opposition. When we see the coalition itself being divided as much as Yamina actually supporting the bill, and knowingly Prime Minister Bennett behind the scenes knew that Justice Minister Saar was presenting the bill these coming days, and he actually okayed it. Otherwise, in the opposition, we see, of course, the regular anti-Bibi movement, which is pretty much pro-Bibi, calling Saar a liar, Saar a traitor, and pretty much going with the sentiments of vengeance. But the bill itself is not new. We're talking about a bill that has been put on the table quite a few times in the past, trying to limit prime ministers up to 2 terms, and only then, because they don't want another repeat of what happened with Netanyahu.
All right, well, so again, the right is divided, as you made mention, even within the coalition. Bennett is reportedly in full knowledge of Saar's push and presumably okayed it, as you stated. Ayelet Shaked, his own number 2, is opposing the measure. Why is that?
Well, their dispute is pretty much more an ideological look and point of view, since Shaked is considered much more of a Likudnikite and much more of a conservative member, as for Bennett's trying to lead more of a new government, thus trying to lead a newer approach and calling the fact that Bibi should not, and any prime minister should not be any more than 2 terms. Shaked, on the other hand, is still trying at some point maybe to buy her way back into the Likud, or maybe to keep the Likud on good terms, maybe for future laws and stuff like that. And pretty much because of that, we're seeing that Shaked is putting out an all-out opposition to the bill.
All right, so given what you've actually just stated in terms of people's different motivations for why they might want to block or support this deal, why wait until the winter session, the start of winter session, to even present a version of this bill? What does that actually say about some of the personal motivation arguments made from both sides against one another?
So the main reason is the same reason that we're seeing the Israeli government asking for a delay in the opening of the consulate, the Palestinian mission to the U.S. mission to the Palestinians. Everything revolves around the budget these days. The budget itself is pretty much the hardest thing to pass every year in the government, and then to the fact that Israel didn't have a budget for the past at least 2 years, if not even 3. And let's not forget that the last government that Netanyahu headed up, he threw down the government due to the fact that he couldn't pass a budget. So the budget is pretty much the major issue on the table. Otherwise, in that, we don't see a lot of other reasons other than ideological reasons of not bringing Bibi back to any sorts of prime ministership or any sorts of governance. And of course, making sure that we do keep a future from now on with 2 terms only.
All right, Asaf Nissan, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.